That should be what this is called. Get your mugs out. Salutations, Ginger League. Welcome to the channel formerly known as Super Geeked, where we used to discuss all things related to superheroes and their genre. But now that Kev has taken over, the Gentle Dorks podcast has been rebranded and decided to expand the horizons to all things dorkdom. What better way to kick it off than getting some newbies that are a part of the Ginger Media Limited family to join us? So first of all, our power couple from the Ginger Games board, Christopher John Stephen and Debbie Stephen. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello.
And Chris Shopland from Red and Yellow Make Ginger and the Extempore Art YouTube channel. Chris, good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
And as always, joined by my number one, Kevin Tierney. How are you getting on, buddy?
Not too bad. I've got my Maltesers and I've got all my
classic.
It's there. The Back to
wow.
the Future mug. This is a running thing where we always try and guess what mug he has. There's usually about 3.
Oh, we should got our mugs out.
That should be what this is called. Get your mugs out.
Who's the biggest mug?
Yeah. There could be so many of them. Yep. Well, the screen's frozen for Christopher and Debbie again, and that we're kind of, girl from the ring pose. As we were discussing before we went on. But see, as long as we can get to hear you as well, and we can contribute, that's all that really matters. And officially to the 3 newbies, welcome to the Ginger Media Limited family. How have you found it so far?
Yeah, I'm just really enjoying having a legitimate reason to talk to other artists. It's been a lot of fun. Recorded 2 episodes this morning, actually, so yes, let my hair down for this one.
You see us now?
Yeah, we can see.
Yep, we can see you.
You're back on.
You no longer look like a Van Gogh painting. Hey, here we go. So, Christopher, Debbie, how are you finding it since joining our little collective of Ginge?
Yeah, it's been good.
I feel like that's all we talk about is just constant board games. And do we have enough money to spend on another 10?
Yeah, I'm like that, but it's with Thomas merch. And then Alison goes, and that's
See, I'm okay. I just need to watch stuff and play stuff. I've already got them, so I don't need to spend anything.
That's true.
I think I picked the better one to do. It's like, I just download it if I don't have it. Oh, there we go. I'm watching it now.
There we go. Yeah, especially since
although my list of things to watch is getting progressively bigger, and it's like I'm never going to get through these in the space of time that I've said I'm going to be able to.
Well, if you think that's bad, but that's the same with my editing list. That's the same with my editing list. I'm like, fuck, there's more and more to edit.
I actually found what the limit is to the watch later list on YouTube. It's currently 4,000 and something. So yeah, I'm going through those.
Well, as long as everybody's watching the channels, that's the main thing. And if you're not, what's wrong with you? This is an Ginger empire. We are going to make sure the Ginger race lives on.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, don't do what I did. Watch later. Watch it tomorrow.
Brilliant. Well, since this is obviously a special episode, we thought we've got board games. Kev's an active gamer, so we thought, why don't we do something about the gaming genre? And it works well because I can keep the conversation on track because I do fuck all when it comes to gaming. I am not a gamer in the slightest. It's just not for me. It's never worked out. I don't have the temperament being Ginger. So it was just like, nah, I'll just take a back seat. I had all the good ones in my what I think were the good ones. The Mega Drive 2, the N64, and the PS2. I think it just should have stopped there. The second I actually got actual people to be able to talk to each other was when I went, I'm out.
Now, PS2 is always a classic when it comes to that sort of gaming. I would say, out of gaming, I am more a board gamer rather than a gamer, but I have dabbled in the past.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I'm more of a gamer, but I have dabbled in the board games.
Yeah, well,
I'm
I've
a
dabbled in
mix.
both.
I'm a mix.
Yeah, we've dabbled in most of them, most of the main ones anyway, I think.
Yeah.
So let's dive into the first topic. As usual, Kev has sourced the topics of discussion for us. So again, Kev, thank you very much. So the first one is actually quite an open question. Do you think people will be open to playing games after watching shows or movies that are based on them? Now, Kev, what was your thinking when you came up with this question?
Well, what it was is, when I heard that The Last of Us was getting made into a series, I was seeing all these message boards saying, what's that? What's that? Because people are thinking, oh, The Walking Dead's finishing, they're needing new zombie stuff. And that's what people are saying in these message boards. And then you got the gamers progressively coming in and saying, no, it's a game that came out in the PlayStation 3. And then they've remastered it, they've done the second one, and people started going, I'll need to go and look that out then. Because when they saw the trailers, they're like, this looks good. So they started playing the game. So it was just, that was my mentality through it, going, people hear of something, then they don't look into it until they see a trailer or they hear people talking about it. And then they're like, oh, I need to try that game.
In a way, I can see that point as well, because my kids are 4 and they've started seeing the trailer for the Super Mario Brothers movie. Not Super Mario Brothers at that movie. We'll make that perfectly clear right now. I will not expose them to that shite. But they saw the trailer for the one that's coming out with Chris Pratt, and as a result, they've now started getting into gaming themselves. We've got my DS. They love playing Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. They go on YouTube Kids and they find the old 90s cartoon series of Super Mario. Again, let's not talk about that. But it's certainly interesting.
Have you seen the Last of Us Mario Saturday Night Live skit? Because that's brilliant.
Yes.
That was good.
Yes, definitely. So it does. Obviously, I'm kind of seeing it from the other side, being a dad and watching the younger generation kind of gravitate to it. But we'll go to Chris and Debbie for this one. What type of show or film did you watch and then later realise is actually based on a game?
That's a good question. I mean,
a recent one for me, I say recent, this was about 10 years ago when I watched it, and that was Blood Rain. Saw the film, it was all right. Realised there were prostitutes in it. Okay. And I thought, is this actually coming from a game? Or is it coming from like a book or a comic or something like that? All right, I'll look it out. And actually was from a game. I'm like, huh. Okay, so I want to play the game.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you watch a film, realizing it was a game, it's like, if the film was crap, what's the game going to be like? And naturally, when a game is transferred into a film, the game's excellent and the films are usually rubbish. Not all the times, just sometimes. It's just.
Yeah. I mean, you know how we're listing these game shows. Well, I think of like all the video game adaptations that aren't going well. So obviously, you got like Blood Rain. It's also Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time.
Nice. I quite like play. I knew that it was a game before it was actually a film.
But the film was terrible.
Yeah, but we're talking about the
I remember playing Prince of Persia on the Atari.
Oh, what?
I played it on the Amiga.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
we've got old school in the house tonight, guys.
Hey, I used to have an Atari as well with the good old-fashioned Pac-Man and everything.
Yes.
Yep.
What about you, Chris? What film did you see or TV series and you went, oh, actually that's based on a game? And did you check it out?
There hasn't. Oh, wait, which Chris we talk?
Right, English. We'll go English Chris for this one.
English or British Chris, yeah. I think most of them I've played the game first and then found the adaptation later. I can't think of anyone that I've come across a game in that way, but I think it will bring people more to watch maybe like the live streams. Like I've been replaying The Last of Us to show people the story and going, right, we're on easy mode, people, let's see what the actual story's, where it came from, yeah.
Right. And Ginger Chris, what about you?
Again, I've quite find it difficult. Always sort of seem to notice the sort of video games adaptations first, and then just go, oh, it's nice to sort of made a movie of that. Although, like I say, I think they do a lot better about it now because one of the things that you got quite into The Witcher when it was on.
But I started to watch The Witcher, but I knew it was a game first before I watched it. So it's like watching The Lord of the Rings, but you knew that it was a series of books beforehand. But it's a little bit weird because like I do want to play The Witcher after seeing what I've seen. But that was a good.
That's the thing.
That was a good series.
I think also view I sometimes won't watch video game adaptations because I've been burnt so many times in the past. Because like I saw Tomb Raider, the Angelina Jolie version, I thought that was bad, and then I saw
Chris
Tomb
Barry
Raider,
was in that though. What a bit of Rimmer? Couldn't get a bit of Rimmer.
Well,
John Carruthers would be wetting
I was going to
himself
say
right
John
now if he
Carruthers
could do
in
that.
here, mate. So, and then it just sometimes thinking past. So you got Max Payne, you've got Assassin's Creed, Street Fighter, Resident Evil. Is there
not a Resident Evil as well?
Sorry?
Yeah.
Is there not a Resident Evil as well?
Don't forget Resident Evil. On that
we
note,
all just sink back into our
RIP
chairs.
I mean, I suppose the one thing that I didn't realise was a sort of video game adaptation, but then I realised, oh yeah, of course it is like Red v Blue, because I didn't realise that was from Halo initially, but I had
Don't diss
mutual
Red
friend.
versus Blue. That is amazing.
Oh yeah, well I had a mutual friend of ours that both liked it, and I thought, okay, I'll try to get into that. And I'm like, oh, this is like some sort of video game, and then I realised, oh, it's all Halo. So
Oh
I
well.
love Red versus Blue. Love it.
Yeah, there's a few of my friends that used to have the Red versus Blue t-shirts, and I was like, what's that? And they would just look at me like, like I came in their house and shat in their dinner. And I was like, thanks guys, thanks. So we'll move swiftly on to the next subject after that blazing analogy. Warcraft is the highest grossing film adaptation based on video games, while Pokemon is the highest grossing film franchise that's based on a video game. So what game adaptations would you like to see? Well, and we'll go with English Chris on this one.
Yeah, I've been trying to think of this one, but I think most of them are being made into films now. So the Gears of War, I'm really looking forward to. And that's going to be an excellent, because the story's story driven, even though there is a lot of action, it is story driven. So that I'm looking forward to. But in terms of more recent games, because I can't afford the PS5, I'm still a few years behind. So
yes, same here.
No,
don't know what's out right now.
Again, I gave up on PS2. One that I'm actually at, because I was thinking about this and going back into my old gaming days, like Mega Drive 2, and one that I would really like to see is Revenge of Shinobi.
Oh, Joe Musashi, I remember him. He was good.
Well, because I remember playing that, and I could not get past like the first level. So I really want to see what the other levels were, and can they put them into a movie? And then I thought, what else was on that wee bumper pack that I got? And it was Streets of Rage 2.
Yeah.
I think that could be a proper 80s, 90s, like, cheesy action film. Well, that could definitely work.
They did do a straight to video version of Streets of
Oh,
Rage.
wow.
And it was bad. It was bad.
But I would want to see something.
That was after they did the version of Double Dragon, which again actually got a cinema release, and that was terrible.
Yep.
Even though I had Robert Patrick in it.
Oh man! But then I was starting to think of the other one as well that was on that triple one, and it was Golden Axe.
That could work. You have a whole vibe.
That was
it's kind of been done a bit.
Top down one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a little
Yeah. But in fairness, I mean, you've got perfect casting right there with Peter Dinklage.
That's true.
Or you resize Gimli again. Well, who was in Lord of the Rings? So we've got it there. There's a potential. But we could even make it to do another crossover with Ross Ginger. Vince McMahon, if you're watching, get this in WWE Studios, because Drew McIntyre could play the big guy that had the blue trunks. But Rhea Ripley could play the woman.
Yes.
Well, because she's the one that I always went because she kicked ass better than the other two guys.
and then you
As
just
well.
got Hornswoggle.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
There you go.
I have
We've
contributed
casted
to gaming.
If you get a load of Viking Raiders to play the Viking Raiders, hang on.
It still works. It still works.
I've contributed something to this episode now. I feel good. I feel good. Well, okay, what about you? Were you thinking any specific ones when you were writing the question?
Well, I was thinking it would be better as probably a TV show. Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, no, that'd be good. I could see that being like a 10-part series in Netflix.
Yeah.
As long as they don't Resident Evil it.
Well, there is a
of
zombie
course.
version. There is a zombie game.
There is a zombie game, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a download, but yeah.
All right.
So they could do that if they wanted to.
That could be a Halloween special.
Yeah.
Ooh, that really could be. Well, that could be quite an interesting one. Well, but what about our gamers, our games boards? Is there any like board game ones that you think could adapt into like a TV series or a movie?
To be
I mean,
fair,
they've kind of done it with Knives Out.
That.
Yeah.
Battleship for one. They had Rihanna in it.
Oh god.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That was better than I
Um,
expected. I wasn't expecting a
Cluedo,
lot.
aka Clue, the film
Yeah.
back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Tim
Knives Out is kind of like that as well, isn't it?
Sorry?
Knives Out is kind of like that as well.
Yeah, it's got its nods from that, but yeah, you can't make
Yeah.
Tim Curry just do the classic.
Yeah. I mean, just the whole him running about, and then the space is like that much, so they're actually going by each other, which actually ties into the actual game.
That's fantastic.
And it's
like-
really good.
It's like when I was watching that the first time, I was like, why are they doing it so close? And then when I read into it, it's like, it links to the game because that's what they're doing.
There we go.
One thing that's quite good is that there's quite a few escape room based games like in the world that are made into actual board games.
That's true, yeah.
So there's been a lot of stuff that's in like real life action into board games, and there's different interpretations of it, which is quite cool. But going back to a game being made into a movie, I will love this to happen because this is bringing up my childhood, and that's Spyro the Dragon.
Oh yes.
With the animation of today, make it into a TV series or at least like a two-parter drama.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm absolutely happy with that.
Sounds good. It's like I was trying to think of like maybe doing like some sort of like Crash Bandicoot one.
Yeah.
Yes.
But just getting like say like Charlie Sheen just loaded on cocaine.
So just get Charlie Sheen.
Exactly. Well, and just film him for about 20 minutes. And just let's say like occasionally run into this object and wear a ginger wig.
And don't forget the mask.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
the
technically,
mask.
it would be called the mask. So technically, it should be Jim Carrey.
I'll take that as
Mask.
already. I think there's already a film based on that.
I know, but
Well,
But
Jim
no,
Carrey
yeah,
can
for
play
me,
the
yeah,
floating-
definitely adapting Lemmings into the big screen. Just think of the cast you could have.
the Lemmings.
Oh, speaking of what about worms?
Earthworm
That'd be
Jim.
quite good.
Yeah,
I would.
Earthworm Jim
go
was a
with
cartoon
Earthworm
series
Jim.
as well, though. There was a
That was a game
cartoon
first.
series.
Yeah. So they could actually just do a film, and they get Bruce Campbell in to voice him.
Oh, that would be good. I remember watching like the cartoon series. That was my one where I was like, I didn't realize that was actually a game first.
Yeah.
Earthworm Jim. Well, and it was
Oh.
just something that was so. I actually thought like someone had slipped me something when I watched it.
No, it's a good cartoon.
I think that was the point.
was-
I think that
yeah.
was the point.
Yeah,
But
it was
yeah,
kind-
they were getting a bit silly here. I mean, what next? Angry Birds, the movie.
Oh, that's quite a good
Why are you all
example.
staring at me? Right.
yeah. If my
We're
kids
frozen
ever say they
again.
were,
Okay.
No, don't worry. I can see you.
well, his face is
Sorry.
glowing brighter than both of our hair colors combined. But yeah, there's definitely some interesting ones there that we could go. So if anybody like from a studio actually hijacks this stream, they'll be like, okay,
That'll
right,
do.
yeah. But I think the golden axe like with WWE studios would be like just like for pure like really shitty and just make like Randy Orton like the big bad. I have no clue who he would be, but I remember seeing there was two like big fucker guys like, and they were just like kind of guys like, and they were just big built bald heads and would just constantly just batter you and be like Randy Orton just just do him in a double cast role.
That's a
Doesn't he-
possibility.
Is this the Raw's
Doesn't
Ginger
do
podcast? Have I come in the wrong room?
No. Aye
Hey.
Hey.
As
Right,
you've
then what's
learned,
going on now?
as you've learned, we are all about cross promotion. Latin Ginger Media, so it just shows that we need more people for Raw's Ginger as well. We've got them right here. It's all good. Yeah, so I think we've safely covered that topic, and I've actually contributed, so I feel quite good about that. So we'll move on to the final question that Kevin gave us. So with the success of The Last of Us and Halo, news of other game adaptations have arisen, including Fallout, God of War, and Assassin's Creed, to name a few. Do you think that the market will get oversaturated with video game adaptations? Now, I think Kev's kind of already answered the question, because of some of the stuff that he sent me that was like, movies based on video games and, upcoming game to TV show adaptations. I'm like, holy fuck, I never realised there was that many.
Nor did I.
Yeah.
But we've
So
got
Jack and
Marvel,
Daxter
so
in the
our
list. I
time.
thought that had been done, and then I looked and it's like, oh no, it's Ratchet and Clank that's already been done. Oh god, that's already been done as well.
Yep.
I looked at it and I was like, looking through, and I'm like, right, where's the good ones?
Well, Assassin's Creed would be good, but they've
Mm.
already tried it and it was terrible.
Yep.
There's such a
Yeah.
great,
Cast as the main
such a great
character
backstory.
again.
Sorry.
Who? Because Michael Fassbender was
He was Desmond in it.
he was
yeah.
Desmond in it.
Yeah.
So who would be recast into that character to try and make it better and true to the video game? Who would they try and get?
I don't know, but they're doing it as a series.
Oh,
It's
they're doing a
getting-
series.
It's getting done as a series. I think with Assassin's Creed, it is something that needs to be spread out. You can't really do it over one
Yeah.
set thing.
I mean, if they did it like an anthology series and did the different time frame every time, that could work.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think.
But 3 episodes per bit,
Yeah, so
rather than just going, there's your film of this one.
Well, I mean, the shame around the original film is they did so much stunt work and so much amazing things, but then you don't see it on screen. It's like,
Yeah.
like, why would they go through all that dangerous stuff and very clever slackline work to not then see it?
Mm.
Yeah, it was all behind the scenes stuff that you had to watch it to actually see it. And it's like, why not just put it in? That's why you were doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I suppose when they made like Warcraft, it was mentioned that the graphics were really good, characters, the settings, but just the storyline and the actual in-depth character stuff, that was just all out the window. So when you flip it on that side, is that there needs to be a good balance of the graphics, the stunts, the characterizations, and the storyline to make it all work out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because a lot of the tendency these days is just making a lot of it just a big, massive CGI fest. And okay, where that's closer to the game, I think your average sort of Netflix subscriber, and that would demand storyline and plot and all that. So
Yeah,
I think that's what they need to watch.
It's kind of where The Last of Us does get the balance right in terms of the background being CGI, but the foreground, a lot of it is real. Like a lot of people online were saying, "Oh, the giraffe is CGI," but actually it was the other way around. The background was CGI, and they brought in a real giraffe for it. Not sure about the actual the rest of the giraffes, but yeah, there was at least one real giraffe on set.
Yeah.
Clarifying,
Yeah.
no giraffes were harmed in the making of this.
Or no humans or infested were harmed by the giraffe in the making of this.
That could be a little subtitle if they had to do Spyro the Dragon, because they always put in "no sheep were harmed in the making of this." They should do that for the TV series of it.
I always loved it was and it's not game related, but it was The Simpsons when it was and Santa's little helper got sick, went and came and got better again. And they were like, "No dogs were harmed in the making of this episode. A cat got sick and someone shot a duck, but that's about it." And I remember just watching that and buckling and just thinking that was brilliant. But there was something that actually that question had brought up for me. Like again, the kids have seen the Super Mario Brothers movie there, and I thought they would be really up for seeing it after they'd started playing the games and things. But when they saw, the wee teaser scene where Bowser is, torturing Luigi by, going to pull a bit of his moustache hair off, which would feckin' hurt, by the way. So yeah, it is torture. Well, Kieran came up to me and he was like, "Why is Bowser doing that?" And I was like, "Well, Bowser is a bad guy. He's a villain." And he's like, "It's too scary. I don't want to see this now." And I was like, "All right, I kind of understand because they're playing games like Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games and stuff like that, and like he's more neutered down. But we remember him being like a complete fucking nightmare." But,
Mario 64, you're having to spin him around into the fire.
Yep, having all that stuff. So it was making me think video game movie adaptations have really got to tread a very fine balancing act because they've got to try and appeal to a newer generation, which, are a bit more scared of that type of stuff, like that type of darker things. I mean, Alison said about Taking the Boys, and I thought, based on the trailer, I wasn't sure. But older fans like us, because I remember playing like Mario Kart 64 and Mario 64 and that, and seeing all this and thinking, that's something they're doing quite accurate and quite true to the game's roots. So they want to try and appease the dorks like us that are a bit older and like we want to see these little kind of in jokes and all that stuff, but they want to get the new generation in. So do you guys think that maybe what we've gave video game movies a bit of a raw deal essentially because they've just not found that balance, kind of like the superhero movies were back in the 90s?
It's a similar argument that you would give because if you were to speak to a lot of people that have read a lot of the books that have been made into films, a lot of people say, read the books first before you see the films because you'll have a much better understanding with it. But a lot of the younger generation go straight into the movies. And then when they read the books, it's like, that's not true to the film. It's like, hang on a second. You didn't read the books first. So I think it depends really into which one happens first. Naturally, we had the history of the Super Marios, the Game Boys, everything like that. And nowadays is Game Boys at the window, everything else like that, and they just go straight into the movies. The reason I bring out the books for the movies is that I read The Lord of the Rings first, the books, and then I watched the films. And I was very, very disappointed with Return of the King because the books had so much detail to it. So therefore, I was disappointed. But when you speak to other people that absolutely loved Return of the King, it's like, you didn't read the books. You don't know what's in those books.
I think it's because the narrative for video games, I mean, in the last 15 years, it's sort of, there's been such a renaissance in sort of the way it was. I mean, okay, I've slagged the Resident Evil movies off quite a bit so far, but let's be honest, what they got to work with is paper thin in terms of plot, especially like the first couple of games. It is literally sort of so two-dimensional characters, even though it's obviously sort of motion capture game.
And it still gave Mila Jovovich like basically the best run of her career.
Yeah,
it actually gave her a career.
Yeah, but that's because it was her husband.
The Fifth Element, though. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you compare one of the games, the Resident Evil movies to The Fifth Element, just no contest. I love the Fifth Element. That's one of my favorite movies. But
that's not that guy Oldman's awesome in that film.
Well, yeah, it's good.
Oh yeah.
But
and Chris Tucker in a very underrated role as well.
Yeah, it's very good.
But if you go back to The Last of Us, that is, if you look at the series versus the game, they've matched a lot of the shots because it does have a really rich environment and rich character development.
Exactly.
It is a film basically in a game. I mean, it's 30 hours or plus of gameplay, so they have skipped a few hours, but it's the raw material, the source material is all there for them to play with. And of course, a lot of people were divided on some of the changes, but I thought fleshing out some of the side characters was very true to Last of Us because they did that a lot in all the little Easter eggs you got and things. So the fact we saw more of their side characters was very true to the game anyway.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, just got such a rich narrative to pick from these days. I think it's good that like you said, Andrew, they're sort of where they are with the sort of superhero movies in the 90s, because back then they just had sort of a paper thin bit to pick from, but that got better and better as the sort of the comic book adaptations got well. So I think video games are the next one to get their due, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Chris was saying. It's like with The Last of Us, the story, it is a fantastic story that isn't based around zombies or whatever they are, because they've not come out and said that's what they are. It's the actual story that you're playing through.
Yeah.
And they've took that story and they've put it to screen. And I think it's been one of the best adaptations from game to screen that there's actually ever been.
Yeah, I think we could have done another 3 episodes to make it feel like more of a journey, and it's got longer to go on. Because
you talking about Last of Us or this podcast?
Yeah, it got me when I'm playing the game again. I was like, oh, because when I watched the series, I was going, they've made this whole level. Why? It didn't seem that relevant in the game. And when I replayed it, it's like, I feel like I'm in the film set now. So it kind of made it went the other way as well. It also made the game more fun to play in some ways, because you're seeing, I'm actually in what they made, which was thinking particularly around Joel's shootout they had, because that was just like, it's just a game, shootout, fine. But when you watch it on the series, every little detail is recreated. So that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty good as well. So to round off for this episode, I'm going to ask, what is your favourite video game to either TV series or movie adaptation? And I'll start with Debbie first.
Oh no, don't start with me first. I'm thinking too much in my head.
Okay, we'll start with Kevin first then.
Well, like I said, it has to be The Last of Us. It's been so true to the game, and they've just took the game and basically said, there you go. Except you don't die every 10 minutes. That's about the only thing that's not true.
Yeah.
Because when I was playing it, I would die every 10 minutes. Like, God! And then,
Yeah.
So that's my one thing about it.
That's your one, right? Debbie, you thought of one?
Well, I haven't seen The Last of Us yet, because I haven't had a chance to watch The Last of Us. But I think of all the successful ones I've seen so far that I played when I was younger, going to the films, I have to admit, and you're going to be surprised by this, I'm going to go for Pokemon.
Oh, nice.
I loved Pokemon as a kid. I dealt with the cards, and I watched the animated TV series, all of them, and into the animated films. And then when it came to Detective Pikachu, but at the same time, you got to see the characters that you so love playing. Like, oh my God, it's this and that. It's like, this is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
So yeah, there will be a twist on that one.
Yeah, and Ryan Reynolds is basically Deadpool Pikachu. It's
one thing, like, why Deadpool suddenly Pikachu? I'm confused.
It's like saying, why is Will Ferrell in the Lego movie?
Yeah.
They're building for a crossover that we never knew we wanted. Right, Christopher John Stephen, what about you?
Right. This sort of veers into guilty pleasure as well, and you're probably all going to hate me for this, but I'm going to say Street Fighter.
Oh.
Yes.
That is a nostalgic moment for me.
I am okay with that. I am perfectly okay with that.
Okay, fair enough. Jean-Claude Van Damme is an all-American hero of it. Not believable. He's Belgian through and through. Kylie Minogue, highly underused.
For obvious reasons.
It's got its flaws, fine. But nothing compares to Raul.
Exactly, Raul Julia.
Raul Julia. Basically, not just chewing the scenery, chewing the floor, and just sort of producing the highest quality ham available, because he knew it was his last movie. And he picked the movie his kids wanted to have a part in the most, and you can just see it in the way he's, because the guy was battling against illness the entire time, but he just so over the top.
He went out with a bang. He literally went out with a bang.
Yeah,
definitely.
And, you can forgive all the corny plot and all the rubbish characters and all that 1,000 times over just to see that final performance. So, yeah,
of course.
Well, in fairness, it had Ming-Na Wen as Chun-Li before she went on to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Stargate and all that type of fame as well. And I think that was a great casting choice. And the guy who played Zangief for comic relief That was just
That was
fantastic for me. It gave me one of my laugh out loud moments of quick, change the channel as the truck was coming towards their tent. So, Chris Shopland, what about you?
Yeah, it's going to have to be The Last of Us as well. But like Kevin, they didn't have the scene when Joel's just running around trying to find the generator, going, "Where is it?" and then dying, and having some player going, "Oh, not again!" You know, some voice from the ether coming out. So, and we could have done a few more episodes just to unfold that journey just a little bit more, so it felt like Lord of the Rings are on a long journey rather than just they just need 1 or 2 more episodes, I think, just to flesh it out a little bit. But before that, all we had was like Blood Rain, and and
all right.
it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I remember being very difficult to watch.
That is the most diplomatic Chris way of saying it was shite.
A difficult watch.
Oh, because I haven't seen it recently, I can't possibly say that.
Right.
Just before we go, I want to say that there is a Metal Gear Solid film being made, and I'm very wary of this.
Mm-hmm.
If they were going to do that, it should have been done 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been far too long. I don't think it's going to do well.
If they did that 10, 15 years ago, they'd have Kurt Russell in it, and it'd basically be Escape from LA.
Which was good.
I'm not saying it wasn't. Just
but this one would be Ego in Escape from LA.
That would be quite interesting.
I think.
Anyway, because the time is starting to run down, so I will round off by obviously saying goodbye to our little panel. So from Red and Yellow Make Ginger, Chris Shopland, thank you for joining us. Christopher John Stephen and Derry Stephen of the Ginger Games Board, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
A pleasure as always. And to drop the cat amongst the pigeons, my favourite is the original Mortal Kombat from 1994.
Oh.
Bye-bye.
Mic drop.
Fatality.
Find the camera again.